Hi, I'm Robbie.
And I'm Andy.
And this is Chatting Tracks. And today we look at one of the top selling Christmas songs of all time.
Don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe so we know where to find you and you can keep track on all of the latest songs.
Now let's get to it. Hi, it's Chatting Tracks. I'm Robbie. As ever, my partner in crime, Andy's with me. And we're going to look at the top selling UK #1 Christmas hits of all time. We've got some absolute belters on here for you and one outlier, one we think should have been on this list. It's a real mixed bag. It should be really interesting. Andy, are you a Christmas person?
I actually am a Christmas person, but I am not a Christmas song person.
And we're going to discover Andy's hatred for Christmas songs as we go on during this as well. So first up, we've got Did They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid from 1984, written by Bob Geldof and Majura after Bob saw a documentary on the Ethiopian famine. And I'm sure everybody's seen this footage by now, and it's absolutely horrendous. It was recorded at SARM Studios in London, and there's a fantastic documentary on the BBC iPlayer about it. And Majura was just walking down the road and he bumped into Gary Kemp, then he bumped into Boy George, and he bumped into so-and-so. And it was basically, we're going to do this on Sunday. If you can be there, it'd be brilliant. Can you turn up? And they didn't know it was going to show up. They didn't know it was going to show. And eventually, word got about and everybody showed up. Oh, Boy George flew in from New York as well because he was away. If you got the BBC iPlayer, I'm sure it's still on. There's a brilliant 3-part documentary about the whole thing. Yeah. Well worth a watch. And don't forget to give to charity as well because it's a really good cause. Anyway, let's go through the track and see what we like about it and what we don't. Here we go. From Tears for Fears, they nicked it. Borrowed it even.
It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid.
Love Paul Young.
Yeah.
Christmas time. We let in light and we banish it.
I mean, I love those in the background as well. It's got a proper vibe going in it. And just his vocal, it's just like the creme de la creme of the 80s talent, isn't it? That's on this record. And Bono, ironic, was the unknown, wasn't he? He was the one they didn't know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then Bono comes along and they're all like, oh, damn, we're in trouble. This guy's really good.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, he's basically a who's who in it of the 80s.
Yeah.
This record of the early 80s. If you were anybody in the early 80s, you're on this record.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost a bit of a club now that if you weren't on it, you missed out. Iconic voice. Come on, Phil. Go on, George. That's all I do when I hear this record. Like, go on. Bloody brilliant. I mean, apparently they laid down the drum track originally, and then Phil went in right at the end and did it. Now he's got all these people watching him. Phil Collins is one of the best drummers Britain's ever, smashed out. He's brilliant, Phil Collins. And I think when you hear the groove on this record, because there's a bit in that documentary where it's before and after, and then you see Phil doing his thing, and that you needed Phil Collins on that to lift that and just absolutely get them drums rolling and that. And he does an amazing job. But every iconic voice that comes up, you just go, yeah, didn't you? It's like, oh, just brilliant.
Pray for the other ones at Christmas time.
Fantastic.
It's hard, but when you're having fun, there's no world outside your window, and it's a world of dread and fear.
It's Sting looking bored.
Sting doing Sting, isn't it?
Yeah, he probably wants to go off and do 10 trick exercises or something. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm bored with this.
I've just got to say, it's when you're watching this, it's a great reminder of how good the talent was in the 80s, isn't it? The vocal talent, how good it was. You can think back on the 80s and think it's a lot to do with like pop and that sort of stuff, but the actual talent that there was there is just incredible.
And when you think about it, this is Sunday morning. They're probably hungover. They've never heard this song before. Then they're going in and they're going, right, you're singing that line with about 50 of your peers standing behind a bit of glass looking at you. And then you've got to create this magic. And they just did it. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of ego in that room, and also a lot of people looking at one another thinking, oh my God, how do I stand up against that person?
Yeah.
It's You know, this because obviously being an artist is you have to have an ego of some kind, don't you? So you think 50 egos in that room. I'm sure at some points it got quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was Tony Hadley that went first.
Was it?
I think it was Tony Hadley, and he said how nervous he was because everyone was watching. Also, what they didn't show mainly in this video, but Nigel Planer from the Young Ones turned up as Neil, and he was making people tea and like messing about in the background. And I think there's a clip in the video somewhere, or there's another cut where he's in it. But it's a really lovely little touch that even comedy was getting involved as well, because I understood the seriousness of it. So yeah, he's dressed as Neil and he's making cups of tea and messing about. I think just fabulous. I really love this record. Hang on, let's play some more. Let's play some more. Now, this is the bit where everybody in that room went, oh, shit. This guy is really good. This is where they all bring it.
Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
Go on, Phil.
And there won't be snow in Africa this Christmas time. The greatest gift they'll get this year is life. Oh.
It's interesting that there's on that documentary there's different takes of this song, and Boy George is doing different vamps. Like, and he goes like, I think he goes like Christmas time or something, but you can't hear this song other than this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like the perfect bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've tried to redo it over the decades with different setups and all that, and different groups of artists and everything. But this is the one, isn't it? You know, what I mean, this is. I mean, for me, it is the best Christmas song ever. I think it's just fantastic. The message behind it and everything, and the fact that it was all for charity, where a lot of my hatred for Christmas music comes from the commercialization of it all. You know, it's like at least this one is well meant.
Yeah.
You know, whereas there are others that shall be unmentioned at this point that I believe are purely for selfish financial gain.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
You know, and it's one of those things. And I look at this video and I see all these familiar faces and hear all these excellent voices, and the performances that they're putting in is just outrageous. I love this track, and it's deservedly in the top 10.
Excellent. Okay, we'll talk about it after. Let's play a bit more.
Where nothing ever grows, no rain or rivers flow. Do they know it's Christmas time at all? Here's to you, raise a glass for everyone. Here's to them underneath that burning sun. Do they know it's Christmas time at all?
Bananarama. All in the gang. Marilyn.
That was Ed Sheeran, wasn't it?
Yeah. I bet that there sounds really horrible. The footage of them, I bet when they're banging a drum and playing a guitar sounds absolutely terrible in real life. I bet that was awful. Right there, if this is true, Rick Parfitt was talking about some lady's bum. That's why he's doing the... If that's right, that's what he was talking about. Yeah, there was something dodgy going on there. He got caught. That's why he's laughing. Why do you think this charity single meant so much to so many people, Andy? What do you think it is about it?
I think it's the fact that if you grew up during the 80s, you're going to have favourite pop stars, and they're all in it. So, you know, there's something for everybody in there. I think the meaning behind the song captured everybody at the time. Obviously, we then went on with Live Aid and all that sort of stuff followed on from this. There was the big movement towards famine in Ethiopia, you know, trying to get rid of all that. I think because of the way the media drove it at the time, it was in the forefront of everybody's mind. And so this song, Those Stars, I think it was all just a perfect combination. The song was the right song, you know, the artists were the right artists, the timing was perfect. And I think it all just fell all together to make for a really, really iconic and legendary movement in music. I think it was just a great point in time for everyone, really.
Yeah. Do you think the song has the same emotional impact that it's always had
today? I can only speak from my point of view. I can't tell you what it means to somebody who's from another generation, but from my generation, I think it still hits the same today. But whether or not that message has dimmed over the years, I don't really know. I'd have to talk to my children about that and find out what they feel about that song, you know. And but yeah, for me, I think the message is still there, and it still brings back the memories of what was going on at that time, and the reason why that song was made and was so popular is still very much in the forefront of my mind because it was so ingrained in the message. You know?
I mean, another question you can ask is, if you did Band Aid today, right? Which bands would you have in it? Band being the word because there's not a lot around anymore. But like in the 1980s, the music was generational, as in your mum would like Duran Duran and the kids would like Duran Duran, whereas today you don't really have that crossover. Maybe Taylor Swift, maybe Ed Sheeran. So I don't know.
I think you would have to have Ed Sheeran involved.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think. But the thing was, it was all British, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At that point,
apart from Kool and the Gang.
And yeah, and then there was the American one that Michael Jackson spearheaded.
We Are the World.
We Are the World, that came shortly afterwards. I think that was closer to Live Aid that was released. I don't think that was released in time for Christmas. That one. Yeah, but I don't know. I'd have to check that information. But if you're looking at an all British cast, then obviously you can't include Taylor Swift. And a lot of the British artists today, I don't think there's any real iconic ones. I think you'd be looking at people like Stormzy and all that sort of stuff.
Coldplay,
and Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, Stormzy, and then you're starting to look down at the artists that the younger generation are listening to.
Yeah,
and I don't really feel that there's many standouts in that have bridged the generational gap, really.
Yeah,
you know, like you were saying about Duran Duran and Wham and all that sort of stuff. They spread across generations. I'm not sure that music today really does that in the same way.
Yeah,
so I think it would be hard, I think, to get a lineup going, and I think they would have to start to look at more iconic artists rather than relevant.
Yeah, maybe throw a few new ones in, like Wet Leg. And something like that. Yeah, just to give it a bit of a mix of younger and newer, and as well as the older lot. Yeah, I think you're right about that.